You left someone on read, not because you forgot, not because you were busy. You saw the message, you thought about responding, and then you just didn't. And somewhere in the silence that followed, you told yourself a story, that they'd understand, that it was easier this way, that you'd explain later, even though you knew you wouldn't. Here's what no one talks about. That silence wasn't cruelty, it was avoidance. And the question isn't whether you're a bad person, the question is, what exactly were you avoiding? Think about what ghosting actually looks like from the inside. It doesn't always start with not caring. Sometimes it starts with not knowing how to handle caring. A text arrives, a situation gets complicated, maybe the relationship started feeling heavy, maybe the other person wants more than you can give, maybe you just don't know what to say. And instead of sitting with that discomfort, you disappear. You tell yourself it's temporary, that you'll figure out what to say eventually. But days become weeks, and now the silence has grown so large that breaking it feels worse than maintaining it. This is the trap. And here's something worth noting. Not every unanswered message is ghosting. People go quiet for all kinds of reasons: stress, overwhelm, shifting priorities, emergencies. Ghosting becomes a pattern when silence repeatedly replaces communication, when disappearing becomes the default response to anything that feels emotionally complicated. That's what this video is actually about. Many people who ghost aren't cold. Sometimes they're emotionally overwhelmed, conflict avoidant, or genuinely unsure how to respond. But that doesn't make the pattern harmless. Because this isn't just about other people. Every time you go quiet instead of speaking, you quietly confirm a belief that you are not capable of handling this. And that belief, if you never challenge it, becomes your identity.
Before we go deeper, stop here for a moment. This doesn't automatically mean something is wrong with you. Ghosting is not always a character defect. It's not automatically proof that you are selfish or cold. For many people, it becomes a coping mechanism, especially when direct communication has felt emotionally costly in the past. Maybe expressing how you felt once led to conflict. Maybe speaking up meant being dismissed or ignored or punished. So a quiet calculation formed. Silence is safer than truth. That was a learned response. It made sense in the context it came from. The problem is that learned responses don't automatically update when the context changes. What once felt like protection can quietly become a pattern that costs you more than it saves. This isn't about blame, it's about seeing clearly. Here's what's actually happening. Attachment researchers suggest that some people with avoidant tendencies may have learned early that emotional closeness felt uncomfortable or unreliable. So they built a defense. When intimacy increases and emotional demand spikes, they withdraw. Not always because they feel nothing, but because the discomfort feels unmanageable and they have no practiced way of sitting with it. Pair that with conflict aversion, the tendency to experience social discomfort as a genuine threat, and the result is predictable. When emotions feel threatening, the brain shifts from reflection to escape. Think of it like a fire alarm. The moment the alarm goes off, no one pauses to evaluate whether the fire is real. They just leave. Ghosting is that same instinct applied to relationships. The alarm goes off, discomfort, pressure, expectation, and the fastest exit is silence. The mental model is simple. Emotional threat, discomfort spike, escape. Not logic, not malice, just a system doing what it learned to do. But here's the thing about fire alarms. If you leave every single time one rings, you never learn to tell the difference between smoke and an actual fire. And that distinction is exactly where emotional growth lives.
So, how do you actually break this pattern? Not with willpower, not with a pep talk. 3 specific things. That's it. Step 1. Name the feeling before you disappear. When the urge to go quiet arrives, pause and identify what you're actually feeling. Not, I don't want to deal with this. That's avoidance talking. Ask, am I feeling trapped, overwhelmed, exposed? Why it works? Research suggests that putting feelings into words can reduce emotional intensity and make responses feel more manageable. Naming what's happening interrupts the automatic escape impulse. Real-life example? You get a message asking where things stand. Before closing the app, you say to yourself, I feel cornered and I don't know what I want. Just that act creates enough space to respond instead of vanish. Step 2. Separate the story from the facts. Your brain will construct a story about why ghosting is the right call. They'll be fine. They probably expected this. It's better this way. These are not facts. They are rationalizations, explanations your mind builds to justify what your discomfort already decided. The fact is usually simpler. This conversation feels uncomfortable and I want out. Why it works? This is cognitive diffusion, a concept from acceptance and commitment therapy. It creates distance between you and the automatic thought, enough distance to question it. Real-life example, they'll move on quickly becomes, I'm telling myself they'll move on quickly because I don't want to feel guilty. That shift is small, its impact isn't. Step 3. Send the smallest honest message possible. You don't need the perfect speech. You don't need to explain everything. You just need to say something true. I'm not in a place to keep this going. I want it to be honest. That's it. Why it works? Unfinished interactions tend to stay mentally active longer than completed ones. This is part of why unresolved situations keep surfacing in your thoughts. Closure creates completion, and that doesn't just help the other person, it releases you. Real-life example, a friendship that slowly drifted. One honest sentence acknowledges what happened and ends the open loop. The relief that follows isn't accidental.
Here's the one thing to hold on to after this video. Avoidance delays pain. Honesty ends it. Every time you ghost someone, you don't escape the discomfort, you archive it. You carry it forward into the next situation, the next relationship, the next choice. The pattern compounds. Because you keep teaching yourself the same thing. Emotional honesty is something I cannot handle. And the only way to undo that belief isn't insight, it's practice. Not brutal honesty, not performative vulnerability, just quiet, direct communication, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. That's the pattern that actually changes something. If you've ghosted someone, this isn't an invitation to spiral into guilt. Guilt without change is just another form of avoidance. What this is, an honest look at a pattern that most people never examine. The brain learns to hide when hiding once felt safe, and it can learn something else. If you give it repeated evidence that honesty is survivable. Discomfort is not the same as danger. That distinction, small as it sounds, is the difference between a pattern that repeats and one that finally stops. You already know what silence costs. The only question left is what you're willing to do instead.